The Hôtel du Louvre opened in 1855, commissioned by Emperor Napoleon III himself. It is said to have hosted Camille Pissarro, who painted views of Paris from his hotel room, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who name-drops the hotel in The Adventure of the Bruce Partington Plans. Now it sits as a property in the Unbound collection under Hyatt. You can still see this landmark hotel featured in movies and shows such as Emily in Paris and Dracula.
The Hôtel du Louvre is situated in the first arrondissement, and you're literally steps away from the Louvre, Palais Royal, and the Tuileries Gardens. Other major sites like the Notre Dame Cathedral and the Champs-Élysées are also very walkable. The Musée du Louvre metro station, also known as the Palais Royal metro station, links you to the metro lines 1 and 7, and the Chalet Les Halles station gives you access to the RER trains. Flying into Charles de Gaulle Airport, you are 45 minutes away via the RER-B train, which takes you to Chalet Les Halles. And from there, you only need to transfer onto Metro Line 1 for one stop and you arrive steps away from the hotel.
Upon arriving at the hotel, we enter the lobby, which is very grand and open. It serves as a nice introduction to the stay. We checked in with Diego, who was very nice and upgraded us to a junior suite without even us asking. Unfortunately, our room was not quite ready, so we went back outside for a stroll. Bonjour from the Hôtel du Louvre in Paris. Let me show you inside our room. So this is our junior suite at the Hôtel du Louvre. We're on the 4th floor overlooking the Musée du Louvre. So as you can tell from the name, this is a prime location in Paris. You are literally across the street from the biggest museum in Paris. Behind me is a little living room sofa area. So you have this very long L-shaped couch with a small glass coffee table. And then in the corner here is a closet. So on this side you have the safe and some drawers for storage. There's also some shoe shine bags and laundry bags here, as well as a full-sized closet, complete with an ironing board and different types of hangers. Coming over to this side, we have the TV and mini bar setup. So under the table here is the mini bar. We did ask for them to empty the mini bar, so all it contains is 2 bottles of complimentary water. By the way, these waters, first of all, I love the design. They're branded for the hotel specifically, and they're very beautiful. And unfortunately, you are limited, so you can only request up to 6 bottles of complimentary water per day. But they are 500 milliliters each, so that's 3 liters of water per day, which is a pretty reasonable amount. You can also get water from the concierge desk when you're leaving or entering the hotel. Above the mini fridge is the coffee bar station. So we don't really use this stuff, but as usual, you have your espresso machine and tea kettle. And then in this box is a little selection of teas and coffees. We have our room service breakfast menu over here, if you do want to do that. And above that is this TV. Unfortunately, just like the Park Hyatt, the TV is not optimally placed because the bed is parallel to the TV. So we have a pretty standard queen-size bed. On either side are twin nightstands with a drawer for you to put some small stuff. And then on this side is the alarm, and on the other side is just your phone. I do like the window and balconies here. It makes the room super bright. I don't know if maybe that's just the direction that we're facing, but the room itself is a lot brighter than the Park Hyatt. Last but not least, let's check out the bathroom. This bathroom is pretty small, as you would expect for a Parisian hotel. You've got your robes on hangers on the left, and then behind me is a sink, which is stocked with pretty minimal amenities. You've got a bar of hand soap, hand lotion, and then in this box are some small amenities like a vanity kit and a shower cap. But you can of course request other things like combs or toothbrushes and dental kits down at the front desk or by calling them. Underneath the sink is the hairdryer and towels, and then over here is the toilet and shower. Unfortunately, this toilet does not have a total washlet. It only has the manual hand bidet, and the seat is not warmed, which I'm really missing from the Park Hyatt. But very small complaint. This towel warmer is functional, so this is very hot right now. I'm actually not sure how to turn this on. I think it's this lever, but I can't figure out how to turn it off, but who cares? I'm sure the towel warmer is fine being on all the time. And then finally, we have the shower. So first, I like showers that have a ledge above the rest of the bathroom because that prevents this door from getting in the way of the towel when I put one down. And also, the shower is a waterfall shower head, but it is quite small. I'm gonna say 3 people max if you really stuff them in there. The shower amenities are by a brand called Codage, which I have not heard of. That's about it for the shower. So first impressions of the Hôtel du Louvre. The front desk staff were pretty friendly. Check-in was a very smooth process. The room itself is pretty small, but that's what you'd expect for a centrally located Paris hotel. But another problem is that it is quite loud. Even now, we don't have the windows open or anything, but although we are facing a very bustling street, once you have all the windows open, you can't really hear much. So I hope that at nighttime we won't have any issues with noise when we're trying to get to sleep, but it seems pretty okay. But yeah, the hotel is pretty well appointed. Although it's a small space, it's quite nice, and I think you'd have a pretty comfortable stay here, but let's see how it goes. Soon after we got to our room, the hotel delivered its welcome amenity, which was customized for a birthday celebration, even though it was actually our anniversary, but that's okay, the effort is still appreciated. This consisted of a slice of chocolate cake, a bottle of sparkling wine, which we asked to be replaced with sparkling juice, 2 small shortbread cookies, and a box of chocolates. Quite a romantic amenity. At night, the hotel also offers a turn-down amenity of a small chocolate square and a notebook. It seems that turn-down amenities are quite rare these days, even at luxury hotels in North America and Europe, so this was a nice touch.
Given the nearly 200-year history of this property, we were quite surprised to see how new and fresh everything felt and looked at this hotel. We loved the spiral staircase that we used to walk to our room every day. Moreover, the bar at Hôtel du Louvre is perhaps one of the most beautiful bars I've ever seen. While this hotel does not have a pool, it does have a nicely equipped fitness center. The gym is equipped with techno gym machines, and while it is not the biggest space, it's bright, inviting, and well stocked with towels and fancy looking water dispensers.
Breakfast is served downstairs at the beautiful Brasserie du Louvre, which runs from 7 to 10:30 each morning. The breakfast offers a nice buffet spread as well as 1 a la carte item and drink for Hyatt globalists or guests that have breakfast included. The buffet included hot items such as bacon and sausage, French pastries and cakes, smoked salmon along with a fresh salad bar, and fruit. I ordered the omelette, which came with a side of baby potatoes, while Kevin ordered the French toast. These weren't quite as amazing as the versions we got from the Park Hyatt Paris, but they were still pretty good. They also had no problems filling Kevin's request for a huge plate of sliced pineapples, which were fresh and beautifully arranged.
Okay, so we've just checked out of the Hôtel du Louvre, and we want to wrap up the video with some closing thoughts. So for context, this hotel is a category 7 in the Hyatt portfolio, which means it can cost from 30,000 to 35,000 points depending on peak and non-peak dates. And in terms of cash rates, it's about €600 per night, which is not cheap at all, but it is a bargain compared to the Park Hyatt Paris. And we were there for 2 nights, and we thought it was a pretty good stay. I would say in terms of value proposition, it's definitely way better than the Park Hyatt Paris if you pay cash. But if you pay with points, I would argue that the Park Hyatt Paris is probably more worth it. So starting with the highlights, the location is unbeatable. You can literally see parts of the Louvre depending on where your room is, and you're literally like a couple steps away from the Louvre grounds. So if you're trying to go early, or if you're trying to avoid the crowds, go first thing in the morning, it's literally in a perfect spot. And surprisingly, our room actually faced the street, facing the Louvre, and that street can get pretty hectic, but the room and windows are well insulated, and especially at night, like once the vast majority of tourists have gone, we were not disturbed at all. So I felt more disturbed at the Park Hyatt Toronto, given our proximity to the elevator, than I did at the Hôtel du Louvre.
Yeah, it was actually a really restful night. I don't think either of us were woken up at all by any kind of noise, which is, really surprising. We weren't even that far We were only 4 floors up, so very well soundproofed. Yeah, I think it was overall a really comfortable stay. Obviously, coming off of the Park Hyatt, it doesn't quite live up to that level of luxury, but how can you expect it to? Like, it's a third of the price.
Yeah.
So I think for what you're paying, given the location and that it's in the heart of Paris in the first arrondissement, the price is not bad. Like, that's just Parisian hotel prices for you. Breakfast here was somewhat similar to the Park Hyatt. Like, the selection wasn't big, but the food was pretty good quality. Not quite as good as the Park Hyatt, but still very strong. I'm also addicted to their beignets. I don't know if it's because the Canadian in me thinks that they're just like Timbits, but they're so good. But yeah, we both really enjoyed our breakfast here.
So the room at the Hôtel du Louvre, we were upgraded to a junior suite, given that we used a guest of honor award. The room was nice, like it's very bright, and it was a big contrast to the Park Hyatt where everything was kind of dark and moody. It was very white, and like it felt refreshing. But this is where you can tell that like the price difference comes into play. So one is the size. So this is a junior suite. The Park Hyatt, I think we just had a regular base level room. This junior suite felt smaller. It had 1 vanity instead of 2 vanities, which, you know, if you're traveling as a couple, dual vanities again are like a very material quality of life benefit. But again, it depends on if you value that. Another thing is like the bathroom doesn't have a bathtub. Again, the Park Hyatt does have a bathtub. Again, small quality of life benefit. And the shower at the Hôtel du Louvre wasn't as comfortable as I would have liked it to be. The water pressure was okay, but you're kind of like tucked into this corner of the shower, and then like the water doesn't drain very well because it's not very slope, and then there's only like one grade, so it depends on where you stand, blah, so on, so on, blah, blah. So in the end, like the room was nice. I think the service kind of really stood out. So like for one, they had a turn down amenity, which, you know, bad on Park Hyatt for not having that. Hôtel du Louvre gave you a small little turn down amenity, which is super appreciative. They also gave us some pretty substantial welcome amenities. They gave us a sparkling apple juice, but as well as they gave us some chocolates and shortbread cookies, which we loved. So that kind of leads me on to the positives and the kind of like why I would recommend staying at Hôtel du Louvre, especially if you're trying to go to the Louvre or if you're trying to be in and around like a Museum d'Orsay, if you're trying to be around in the first arrondissement. And that is the service. The service is really good. In addition to the in-room amenities, they also offer a neighborhood tour and a hotel tour. Both of these are free. And when we stayed here, they were hosted by this lovely guy named Diego. He's not gonna watch this video, but huge shout outs to him. He has just started his career in hospitality. He's still quite young, but he is showing so much promise. He's showing levels of maturity and guest understanding that we haven't seen in a long time. It could just be that we personally prefer a bit more of a personable than a robotic interaction with hotel staff, and he was the perfect complement to that. He was able to blend his personal side, his humor, and his personal anecdotes of being French while being professional and being, you know, working on the job. Hôtel du Louvre was great. It doesn't rise to the same level as a Park Hyatt, and we keep talking about that because we say that on back to back, but you just have to know that Hôtel du Louvre is literally a third of the price. So if you're looking for a relatively budget-friendly option in Paris, because the hotels in Paris are kind of insane, you can spend millions of dollars if you really wanted to. A sort of budget-friendly option that is so luxurious, I think Hôtel du Louvre is a great choice.
Yes, I agree.
Let us know if you stayed there and what you thought, and thanks for watching this review. Stay tuned for our next one.